This is a news flash for every newscast.
Alright, moving on to the other side of the room. Starting off with this fry tank. It's a 20-gallon long. I used it to breed fish, breeded cockatoides a while ago. I had fry in here. I never managed to take them out. Surprisingly, the fry that survived in here survived months after months without a water change, the water level going down and then just getting refilled every once in a while. Cockatoides fry are incredibly resilient. All they had in here were themselves, some snails. By some snails I mean way too many snails for anyone's imagination. But some snails, some sphagnum moss, and occasional feeding. This tank got really neglected, but these fry pulled through. They're fine. They're growing. Obviously their growth is going to be a bit stunted, but they'll be okay. It's going to take a while for them to grow up again. In this tank, I don't have a sponge filter in it right now, but I'm planning on moving them anyway to another container once I figure out which ones are males and females. And this side doesn't have any outlets until today, where I just set up a extension cord on the ceiling with some good old hammer nails. Got it across the ceiling board. But this tank's got a mix of male and female cockatoides orange flash fry. None of them over an inch, possibly none of them over a few, like a centimeter and a half. They're pretty small, but they're pretty old. They're the same age as the ones I showed you earlier. The first tank on the shelf over there behind the camera. This tank, cockatoides fry, not much to say about it though. It's just 20 long cockatoides fry. And the last actual fish tank in my fish room, the 33 long, my biggest and favorite tank that I have. Right now it's got mostly female cockatoides because I didn't have a heater on it for the longest time, and colder the water is, the more females you get for cockatoides orange flashes usually. Sometimes it doesn't work out so well. But this tank I got females, I got a few males in here. None of them are breeding size, but all my breeding cockatoides orange flash females are in this tank. One day, hopefully soon, I do plan on tearing this tank down again, moving all the females and males out, separating them, get the females to somebody who can really use them for breeding again. Got a few people in the club's Capital Cichlid Association looking for some female cockatoides orange flashes. Lucky for me. But this tank, ever since I've got it, first video was a while ago of this tank, but first when I got it, it's always been a cockatoides breeding tank. It's been incredibly successful. If you want to breed cichlids, dwarf cichlids specifically, maybe even dwarf pike cichlids, but if you want to breed dwarf cichlids, whether it's Pulvicochromis, Pistogramonoids, Microgeophagus, the rams, any dwarf cichlid, or even peacock gudgeon, I suppose. The gudgeon, emperor gudgeon, those guys, definitely want to breed them in a 33 long. If you have the space and if you can afford it and get it, it's really useful. It's a long enough tank to have either a harem. You could have two trios. I had two trios in here. I had two breeding males, and I think 5 breeding females in here. So this was definitely a well-produced tank, well populated, and back when I first got fry in this tank, it was quite hectic. But everybody's a bit older, a bit calmer now. Moving them out, switching them in for some other Pistogramas. I don't necessarily say I'm gonna miss this tank how it is, but it's gonna be good to have some more really young fry in this tank. The only thing I advise with this tank is always watch your females, because if they breed and the fry start getting free swimming, it's going to be a pain in your butt to get them out, get them to another tank so they don't all die. But Cockatoides, Piscircama, pelvicacromis, cichlids in general do an incredibly good job at protecting their fry. Like I said, I've got some fish upstairs in the show tank with a lot of other fish, but they're holding out. Most of the fry have survived, like I said earlier, and cichlids, they are very good parents. This tank I've got a sponge filter rated for 125 or 80 gallons. Driftwood, sphagnum peat moss on the bottom, white sand, very, very fine grained white sand, about 1.5 inches of that, and a whole bunch of pots. I've got driftwood, leaf litter, and clay pots in here. So this tank is the combination of three breeding tanks, and where I got the ideas for it, that experiment. It's got a few plants in here, mostly just sage and crypticornis, however you pronounce those guys. Those guys specifically because they don't need a lot of light and don't need a lot of care, so I can kind of ignore them and they'll still grow fine. The light I've got on them is that guy on the left, a 90-watt LED. It's very, very powerful, so they'll be fine with it, but it's nowhere near a plant light or anything. Alright, that's it for that tank. And the final aquarium, kind of aquarium, not technically an aquarium, but final tank I've got on the list for you today is this, I think it's 31-gallon Rubbermaid tote. Right now it's got all the males from, let me turn this off. Got all the males from another female spawn, Orange Flash. These guys are maybe 2 years old now. It's been a while since they've been a really small fry, but 2 years old. They're all males in here, and these are guys I intend to sell soon. There's one right there. They're in here. They're in here with some guppy fry, if I can find one. Yeah, I don't know where they went, but some guppy fry in here that they snack on occasionally, unfortunately, but they mostly leave them alone. Some driftwood, some floating crypticorn that had a gigantic black hair algae problem. So I let them sit in this ball in some of these tanks, try and wait out the algae. The crypticorns are doing great. Just gotta get some of those final leaves clear of the algae. It's got a sponge filter in here rated for, I think, 40 to 80 gallons, one or the other, and a 30-gallon, I think it was a 150-watt heater in here. They're both, all the stuff is hooked up to this power pack, electrical battery in case of the power outage. And this is the tank I plan to move these guys in the 20 long into. These totes are very good, especially if you're planning on selling them by quantity, and people want to pay extra if they know that it's for sure a male, for sure a female, or for sure a pair, because stores like Dr. Foster and Smith's aquarium thing online, I think it was called aquaria.com, something like that. Those they say, yeah, we're selling a pair, but might not actually get a male and a female. So people know what they're getting. They're gonna buy it more readily. Right now I've got a piece of driftwood, crypticorns, and this bottle of sphagnum peat moss in here with some holes poked in it to let it drain out, but it still doesn't give it that tinted color that I didn't really need it in this tank. So yeah, the only complicated thing with this tank is getting it drained, which I use this aqua lifter. I think it's Tom's Aquatics or something. I just turned it on for you, but basically it's just a small very, very small water pump that uses regular airline tubing. Got one tubing going in, one tubing going out, and just like that. It's pretty slow. I think this only goes 3.5 gallons an hour, I think. It works. I could get a bigger water pump in here if I really wanted to, but it's not entirely worth it. Just drain it with that, put it in one of these 5-gallon jugs, dump it in my wastewater bin, or go over, dump it in the drain, and get it over with, and then fill it back up with this guy over here. Yeah, that's it. That's the fish room. And one last note: the plants that you see all around the room, those guys are just there. No particular reason. This plant in particular, vine plants like this, if you let them grow in the water, they really help with the water quality and the air quality. Just make sure that they're not poisonous for the fish, because they're obviously going to pick at it once in a while. This guy I've got floating in the tank. Let's see if it survives in here. And yeah, that's it. Let's try and find some of these females fry before I let you go. There's some pistogramas. You can fry over there. They're back over by the sponge filter. See if I can catch these guys. You can see them there on that block of Apache Superfoods. There's a mother around the corner, standing guard. And not gonna be able to catch her fry, I don't think. They were too small. And yeah.
For every newscast, be very prepared and trying to hear why he do that. See, I be lying if I say I didn't like this life, when I'm steady shaking hands, giving a few laughs. See, this is only the beginning, mommy. A beginning, I don't think this ever ended, mommy. My ex said, why you be on your Charlie Sheen shit? Because I'm winning, mommy. Everything is at where it belong, from the way